We continue now at the top of Daf Bezim and Bezim Meseches Eruvin. This is Eruvin Daf Tube. The Gemara is discussing where we find that the Mishkan is called Mikdash, and the suggestion is that it says that the Bnei Kahas, the children of Kahas, they used to carry the Mikdash, and the assumption the Gemara is making is that that was talking about the Mishkan, so you see that the Mishkan was called Mikdash. The Gemara says, no, Hahu Ba'aron Ksiv, that pasuk is not talking about the Mishkan, it's talking about the fact that the Bnei Kahas carry the Aron. Rashi says, Hahu Ba'aron Ksiv Shu Masa Bnei Kahas, that was what the Bnei Kahas carried, Ve'al Shem Shu Mekudosh Mishar HaMasos Kari Mikdash, because it is holier than all the other things that are carried, that's why it's called Mikdash. So the Gemara tries another source, Ela Mehacha, rather the source comes from here, V'yasu li Mikdash V'shachanti B'socham, the pasuk says you're going to make for me a Mikdash and I will dwell amongst them. That's actually talking about the Mishkan, so you see that the Mishkan can be called Mikdash. So the Gemara now says, Bein l'Rabbanan uvein l'Rab Yehuda. Whether we're following the Rabbanan, whether we're following the Rabbi Yehuda, the whole discussion over here was how large, what are the dimensions of the Pesach of the Mavui, and we said that the Rabbanan learned it out from the Pesach of the Beis HaMikdash, the Pesach of the Heichal, the doorway of the Heichal, and Rabbi Yehuda learns it out from the Pesach of the Ulam. So the Gemara says, both opinions, Lil Fumi Pesach Shar HaChatzer, why don't they learn it out from the entry of the Chatzer of the Mishkan? That also had dimensions, and that was called a Pesach. Rashi here explains. Lil Fumi Pesach Shar HaChatzer, Arochav Parach. The question here is going on the width. The Tanan b'Masnisin, because it says in the Mishnah, V'harochav me'aser amos yimaid. It said that if the entry point of the Maveh was wider than 10 amos, you need to make it smaller. And again, that was learned out, according to the Rabbanan, from the Pesach of the Heichal. So the Gemara says, or so Rashi says, Ha'eshkechon Pesach Chatzer, Davi Esrim Rochav. We see that the Pesach of the Chatzer is actually 20 wide, Vikri Pesach, and that's called the Pesach. Dechsiv es Kalei Chatzer, ves Masach Pesach Shar Chatzer, beParshas Nosuk Ksiv. Again, it uses the term Pesach by the gate of the Chatzer. Avol agova ulamifsal begova yoser mehayamos lo matzi parch. Now Rashi here says something he's going to address a little later. Are they asking on the height as well? Because one of the things that's going to be brought up here is that the height of this entry point was 5 amos. So maybe it should be possible if it's higher, if the Korah is higher than 5 amos. So that they're not asking. Because we find other things called Pesach, like the Pesach of the Heichal, that's 20 high, V'kakari le Pesach, that's still called Pesach. So you're not going to learn out a maximum height of 5 if there's another case where there's something higher that's called a Pesach. So we're not asking on the height, according to Rashi, we're only asking on the width. Why are you limiting the width to 10 amos? We're going to have a larger width in this case. Rashi explains, Rochev Chatzer HaMishkan Nun Amma, the total width was 50 amos, V'hadich Siv Chamishim B'Chamishim, B'Perek Beis Mefarish Lo, U'Pizcha Be'emtza Rachva Ustamo, B'Kloim Tesvava Mitzad Zeh Shal Pesach, V'Tesvava Mitzad Zeh Shal Pesach. What they had was, they were walls that was 50 wide, but they had 15 amos on one side as a wall, and 15 amos on the other side as a wall, so you subtract those 15 amos, the Pesach was actually 20 amos wide. It turns out that the Pesach is 20 amos in the middle. The shoulder means the side of the doorway, so that doesn't count. The 15 amos on the right side, the 15 amos on the left side don't count. The actual Pesach of the Chatzer is 20 amos, and that, according to Rashi, that is the question of the Gemara. Why don't we allow the Pesach to be 20 amos wide from the Chatzer? We should learn from there. Now the Gemara brings a source. Because the pasuk says, Orech HaChatzer meya ba'ama, the length of the Chatzer was 100 amos. The Rachav Chamishim B'Chamishim, it was 50 by 50 in terms of width. So you see the width was 50. The Koma Chamesh amos, the height was 5 amos. Again, Rashi says we're not asking from the height. Uchsiv, and it says V'Chamesh Esrei Amma Kloim Lakosef. Uchsiv V'Lakosef Hashenis Mizeh U'Mizeh L'Shar HaChatzer Kloim Chamesh Esrei Amma. Again, the shoulders of the doorway to the Chatzer were 15 amos each, so you subtract 15 on the right side, you subtract 15 on the left side, and you have 50 minus 30, you end up with a 20 amos. Ma'alahalan chamesh barochav esrim, just like over there was a height of 5 and it was 20 wide, afkan chamesh barochav esrim. So to over here, it should be 5 with a width of 20. Again, Rashi saying we're not asking from the 5, we're asking from the 20. Rashi will bring an opinion later that explains that we're asking from the 5 as well, but Rashi says it's a mistake. Rashi says here, Ma'alahalan gova chamesh, sharei kol kalei hachatzer saviv lo hayagoven ala chamesh. What the Gemara is referring to is the height is 5, because that's what the kalei hachatzer were. Kedechsiv v'koma chamesh amos. It says that the height was 5. So Rashi is explaining what that means. Chamesh barochav esrim. In any case, the Gemara answers, so why aren't we learning from the Pesach Shar HaChatzer? The Gemara answers, Pesach Shar HaChatzer Ikri, it's because it's called a Pesach Shar HaChatzer, the entryway of the gate of the Chatzer, Pesach Stama Lo Ikri. It's not called a Pesach. A Pesach has to be smaller, and the maximum width of a Pesach, the Gemara is saying, is 10 amos. V'boy Yisema, the Gemara gives another answer. Kiksiv kloim chamesh esreim amo lekasef begova hu dechsiv. When it says 15 amos for the shoulders, it's actually referring to the height. So the Gemara asks, Gova, it's referring to the height. You're saying the 15 amos on each side is not referring to the length of those shoulders of the entry point. It's referring to the height. V'achsiv v'koma chamesh amos. We just said that. It said before the height was 5 amos, not 15 amos. So the Gemara says, now this is a girsa issue, but the Gemara says, Ahu misvas mizbeach ulamala. When we talk about it being a height of 5 amos, according to this answer, that's from the top of the mizbeach, but in reality, the total height was more than 5. We're going to see Rashi explain a couple explanations of what this means. It says, Begova hu dechsiv, it's written by the height. This is the Gemara's suggestion. Shegavu hakloim hamizrachios mizeh umizeh lepesach tesvav ama yoser mishar kali hachatzer. So in this explanation, Rashi is saying that it means that the shoulders of the entry point, the sides of the doorway into the chatzer, were 15 amos higher than everything else. Dahavilhu gova chaf, so they were actually 20 high. Ulerochav lo nitnamida. We have no real understanding of the width, so you can't ask from the width. And the Gemara says, Ahu chamesh amos, and when it says 5 amos, misfas kloim ulamata, it means from the kloim and below, meaning, lamata me'osan tesvav shenedfu mizeh mizeh. These sides are 15 higher than everything else. Lepesach hayu od he gova shave l'shara kloim. They're 5, it's meaning it's above, it's 15 amos above the other ones which were 5. V'alei nitosvu tesvav. On the normal standard 5 height, these were added 15. Begova mibez efrei hapesach davalu chaf. So according to this understanding of Rashi, the Gemara is answering that the height of the sides of the entryway into the Chatzer were a total of 20 amos. Now he says, Lishna Achrina, he says there is another explanation. Begova hu dechsiv, degova kol kalei hachatzer saviv tesvav. Some people have that the height of all of the kalei hachatzer, the height of all of the curtains that went around the chatzer were 15 amos. Aval l'rochav hapesach lo lamanu shir, but we don't know the width. Now, according to that girsa, we should say that the number 5, when we say it's a height of 5, it's not from the sides of the kloim, because all the kloim are the same height, according to the second answer. It's from the mizbeach. That's the girsa that we actually had in our text. Sham mizbeach govo eser, because the mizbeach is 10 amos high. Va'kloim gvoos mimenu chamish, and the kloim, the curtains around the chatzer, are 5 more than the mizbeach. The havalu tesvav, which comes out to be 15, because 10 plus 5 is 15. The whole purpose is we don't want the Kohen to be doing the avodah on the mizbeach and everyone can see him, so we make the kloim, we make those 5 amos higher than the mizbeach itself. And Rashi says, Ushteyan shamati. I heard both these explanations. In other words, when it says over here that 15 amos is the height, I heard both explanations. The first explanation, again, that it's 15 amos higher than the curtains that were next to it, the other curtains that surrounded the chutzner, the shoulder curtains, the ones at the sides of the entry point were 15 amos higher than all the rest of the curtains, which were 5. And the second explanation that no, it's 5 amos higher than the mizbeach, it's a total of 15, the mizbeach was 10. But he says, he says this second pshat is the right pshat. That's exactly what it says in Zvachim. He says the person who gave the first explanation makes a mistake. The person who said the first pshat thinks that the question of the Gemara was from the height. Remember, Rashi said at the beginning, we're not asking on the height. We're not saying that a mavoi, the korin of mavoi, should not be allowed to be higher than 5 amos. That we know it can be higher than 5 amos because we have other examples of pesachs that go higher than that go up to 20 amos. But the person who had this first lashon thinks the question is on the height. Lemifsal gova yoser mehe amos. And the person who understands, again, this lishna rishona, this first lashon, thinks that we want to say that any korah that's more than 5 amos is going to be a problem. And that's why that lashon tries to make it that no, the height is not really 5, the height is really 20. How is the height 20? Because it means all the koloim were 5, but then these side koloim were 15 amos higher, they were 20. So that's the goal of this lashon. Rashi says that's just misapplying what the Gemara is saying. The Gemara does not mean to be questioning the height. The Gemara, according to Rashi, is only questioning the width, and that's why the proper girsa, according to Rashi, is this girsa, hahu misvas mizbeach ulamal. In any case, so what the Gemara had said before was that the Rabbanan learned from the entryway, the Pesach of the Heichel, and Rabbi Yehuda learns his dimensions from the entryway of the Ulam. So the Gemara says, for Rabbi Yehuda mi pischo shel Ulam Gomer, does Rabbi Yehuda really learn from the entry of the Ulam? V'atanan, but we learned in our Mishnah, v'harachav me'eser amos yamayit, it says that it can't be wider, the entryway into the Mavli can't be wider than 10 amos, otherwise it needs to be made smaller. V'lo palig Rabbi Yehuda. In the Mishnah, Rabbi Yehuda doesn't argue. Rabbi Yehuda argues on the height. He never argues on the width. If he's learning from the Ulam, he should argue on the width also. So the Gemara says, Amar Abaye, Abaye says, palig bebraisa. Rabbi Yehuda actually does argue on the width as well. It's in a brisa. The Tanya we learned in a brisa, v'arochav miyuramos yamayit. It says it can't be wider than 10. Rabbi Yehuda, Omer, but Rabbi Yehuda says, Eino tzarech lamayit. You don't need to make it smaller. It can be wider. So the Gemara says, v'liflog b'masnisin. Why doesn't he argue in the Mishnah? Gemara says, palig begov avudin l'rachva. Once he argues with height, you're supposed to realize that he argues with the width as well. But the Gemara is still not satisfied. Vakati, but still, Rabbi Yehuda mi pischo shel ulam gomer. Does Rabbi Yehuda really learn his dimensions from the ulam? Of Tanya, we learned in a brisa. It says that if a mavoi is higher than 20 amos, it's got to be smaller. Rabbi Yehuda machshir ad mem v'nun amo. Rabbi Yehuda says it could be up to 40, up to 50 amos, and then v'tani bar kapara ad meya. And bar kapara says it could be up to 100 amos high. Now the ulam was 40 amos high. So where's this number 50 coming from? Where's this number 100 coming from? What's going on? Gemara says bishlam levar kapara guzma. It could be bar kapara was just saying an exaggeration. Rashi says once he already said 40, that's such a high doorway. He was just saying the point is it can be extremely high. Once it's higher than 20 amos already, once it's higher than 30 amos, it might as well be 100 amos. Elul Rav Yehuda, my guzma, but according to Rav Yehuda, what's the split? 40, 50, that doesn't sound like an exaggeration. So what's going on? Bishlam Rav Yehuda, boim gomer mi pischo shalulam. I understand 40 amos, that is the entryway of the ulam, that's the height, that's what he learns out. Elon nun minole, where does he learn 50 from? So the Gemara says, the following brayse actually messed Rav up. Rav is the one that suggested that Rabbi Yehuda learns from the ulam. That is incorrect. If Rabbi Yehuda learned from the ulam, he would have learned out the height from the ulam, and he would have said 40 amos. He wouldn't have said 50 amos. But the brayse misled Rav, the Tanya, because we learned in a brayse, mavoi shugavo michaf amma. Yoser mi pischo shel heichel yemait. The Bryce is talking about the opinion of the Rabbanan, and it says a mavoi that's higher than 20 amos, higher than the height of the heichel, needs to be lowered. So who savar mi the Rabbanan mi pischo shel heichel gamri, Rabbi Yehuda mi pischo shel ulam gamar. So Rav thought, well, if the Rabbanan are learning from the entryway of the heichel, Rabbi Yehuda probably learns from the ulam. Veloi, but it's not true. Rabbi Yehuda mi pischa de malchin gamar. Rabbi Yehuda learns out from the doorway of palaces, of kings' homes. Those were very large. In general, those were still called Pesach, and therefore he said it could be very large. V'Rabbanan, now the Gemara asks on the Rabbanan. If they learn out from the door of the Heichel, libo dalsos keheichel, why don't they require there to be an actual door like we find by the Beis HaMikdash, by the Heichel? Alomatanan, why does it say in the Mishnah, Hechsher mavoi beishamai omrim lechi v'kora, that in order to make a mavoi kosher to carry, in Beishamai say you need a lechi, a pole, and you need a korah, a beam that goes up, runs on top at the entry point. Or Beis Hillel omrim lechi o korah, and Beis Hillel say either a lechi at the side, a pole at the side, or you need a beam on top. So you should learn out from the Heichel, and you should require an actual door. So the Gemara answers, Dalsas Heichel etznius bial mahudi avidan. The doors of the Heichel were really just made for privacy. They're not necessary for it to be called a Pesach. Something can be called a Pesach even if it doesn't have an actual door. Elamead, but the Gemara says still, lo tahani leit suras ha-Pesach. When you make a suras ha-Pesach, again, a suras ha-Pesach is when you have two lechis and a korah on top. It kind of looks like the frame of a doorway, so that shouldn't allow you to make it wider. To a heichel suras ha-Pesach havalo, because the heichel itself had its suras ha-Pesach. Afilu hachi eser amos u'deraviach, but still it was only 10 amos wide. Why are we saying that if you have a suras ha-Pesach, it could be as wide as you want? It could be wider than 10 amos. The heichel itself was 10 amos and it had its suras ha-Pesach. Aloma tzanan, why does it say in the Mishnah, Yesh l'tzuras ha-Pesach, that if it has a tzuras ha-Pesach, aval pi sherocha me'aser amos, even if it's wider than 10 amos, eino tzarach l'mayit, you don't need to make it smaller. That's fine. As long as it is a tzuras ha-Pesach, it could be as wide as you want. So the Gemara says, now, midiu taima el Rav. This whole discussion here is only according to Rav. Hamasni le Rav Yehuda lechia bar Rav kame de Rav, but Rav Yehuda said in front of Chia bar, he said to Chia bar Rav in front of Rav, Eino tzarich lamai, that again, if you have a tzuras HaPesach, you don't need to make it smaller. It can be wider than 10. And Rav responded, V'yomar lei, and Rav responded to them, Asni tzarich lamai. No, you should write that you do need to make it smaller, exactly for this reason. Rav learns from the Heichel that it cannot be more than 10 amos, even if you have a tzuras HaPesach, not like the text in our Mishnah. But the Gemara continues to ask, Ela me'ata, but according to that, and we'll see the continuation of the discussion in the next video on Daf Gimel Amud Aleph.